between Hebron and Vermont, and then Penn's closed
6
at 49.
5 to 2.
It's like a 20 some mile each way.
This of Hebrew.
He did what he said today, he said he really had a, let's just take 30 to 65.
Well, I had to go to get to Demont, I had to go all the way down to 65, take that over to 2, and then 2 back up into Demont. There's no way I could get in. I would imagine the businesses. You've got to be cutting their business traffic down.
I went today.
It is possible. Yeah. Did you?
How long is it?
And all the way
Yeah,
down.
you want to start signing as long as you're here? There's a thank you card.
I'm trying to get select.
I haven't given my name to Lynn to
Go live,
hers.
already go.
How long before that again?
I don't, I've heard,
Get your Zoom again. Okay, I wanna be on YouTube, I know. Okay, I gotta get it on YouTube live, go live. If it looks like it is live. Yeah, YouTube, right up there. Right, check out, go to the left bit, no, go, just go to the left and see what he said.
And everything and then.
Okay, go back,
Automatically plug it in or-
click on the, did you click on the YouTube? Right, why not?
all protesters.
No, go back.
Requesting a ceasefire with Israel. And the whole.
Okay, click up on the YouTube.
That's what I
No,
did.
one down,
The
go one
hammer was
down,
there.
that one, just to see if it does anything different.
It's spinning.
Okay, that doesn't work. Go back up to, no, go back up. You're doing fine. Just. Okay, hit your,
Lines left to the YouTube.
I did that.
Oh, there's nothing there?
No,
Here, let's go live.
there you go.
Wait. Chat is disabled for this live stream. I've got to enable.
I've been
Yeah, I
driving
want
for 40 years. It's stuck by a stop train in lacrosse. I didn't even know they still use the tracks. I've never seen a
I
train.
don't know if you want to
Right
edit.
when you pass that four-way.
I just gotta turn it upside down.
The angle is just before you get to the train stop, if you're going west.
Okay, that's everything about
I get there, train stopped on the track. Like I didn't even stretch for line. That was the start of my day getting in there.
it.
Oh, that one.
I don't know how you don't have like a job aid where he's typed up step by step.
He did, but he's missing all these steps. I don't know.
Well, then he hasn't done it right.
Well, it's not happening today.
I know. But this has been going on for a year.
Julian, if you want me to sit over to the right or to the left?
If I get this going, you won't have to worry, but right now I just want to get this going.
Okay.
All you gotta do is flip it.
She's looking for the button.
You know what button turns this upside down?
No.
No, right side up, you gotta.
Yeah, right side up.
I don't know how that works.
There's a button, one of these does it.
And everything else.
One of these buttons. And that. We could just be upside down for the next.
Maybe just find them.
Yeah. Oh, this one. I can't see without.
It says-
Association.
Something reversed.
Don't resign.
There's any button, sorry.
That, well, just so you're.
Call, push.
I don't have his number.
Oh.
So how you say that?
It's on the conclusion of the meeting.
Yeah, yes, it's fine.
I was thinking there's something.
Setting. No, it's on here.
I don't know, I feel like I had it for you guys. And I tested my cataract surgery, it's like. Yeah, like.
I never saw photo. I didn't either, but I was looking.
Right.
Well, they're not great though.
Yeah.
Just before you get to Cedar Lake Road, there's a street.
This was the follow
As
up.
far as you can go. Then they
We need to enlarge full screen, maybe you need to do that, get rid of this other stuff.
I don't know how any of that works, so
I thought I did, but
Donnie might know.
Do you know which button turns these screens up right side up?
I think if I was you, I don't know if you've ever been this.
They do it every meeting.
I've got a couple of people, two of them gotta go pick that thing up and turn it around.
Just take two.
No, I got another one.
That's the easiest.
I don't have his number. He gave me a cheat sheet, but he forgot
I
to
mean,
say.
I've gone to two.
I think I'm pretty well. Here.
Yeah, it's just-
How you doing?
sometimes you're going through, well.
It's coming tonight, right?
What's that?
Yes, I don't know. Yes, the picnic tables. Oh. Yeah, well, and I've got a couple of letters that I need to get signed tonight to make copies. Yeah, every, I know. I knew that, so if you pass. Let's see, I got a couple of letters that I need to get.
What is it?
I don't know what Angelina did with them. I got it now.
So is this supposed to be restored? Yeah, did I misspell it? No, I'm just, it's resorted. That's what it's supposed to be. Restored, right?
What's that?
Damn spell check.
You know what you said.
Well, that's all it was. It was- he was just gonna aggravate me. Well, and I knew that. Yeah, he couldn't stand it when I said, do nothing to you.
There it is. Yay. Now, possible.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Minimize it.
All right. I've got a job for you. For commissioners.
Oh,
Resort is supposed to be restored.
The middle one.
They're touching out.
I think it's gonna be good.
That's just get approved. This ain't the biggest. Not gonna be nice in my computers.
Even got more than even Stanley gave me new cheat sheets. Of course, I'm looking. We've never done it. First time.
We'll talk about it and then we'll sign.
Gotcha. I was pushing it. I say that one more. Did you get it? Oh, okay.
You get Scott Peter down there.
How you doing?
Yeah, he'll bring this.
Yeah.
So they've been calling her and they finally called me today and said.
That's the agenda.
Interest from the.
I said mine, didn't I? Okay. I thought I
The
did.
terms in there, and I'll talk about how we pay for the stuff in here too, so.
Very good.
So anyway, it's.
As long as it's really working.
Okay.
Wow. Did I give you guys that? I'm gonna use them. So it's done, it's here, I'm done.
Are you guys passing those cards down to get signed?
I did already. I did the Sam. I don't know if Richard got his yet.
These are the thank you cards for the picnic table donations.
He started saying
Send them
that.
to your mail.
So I'll give it there. You want to wait till after the meeting to sign these or?
Oh, I can start.
Okay.
Income and everything. Get up for today. How are you? Good, how about you? Hi. I've seen you in a while. Yeah. Glad to see you. Me too.
Did you put me on the agenda? Well, of course. It's you. You're welcome. There's the mayor.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, there's the mayor.
They're not here.
The mayor, that's the mayor. Yes.
As I drive.
I've got the claims, so. I got another one. I did get, the Conservancy District bill, had to get out here. Okay. And, since that, we don't get to pay that through the week, so. Otherwise, it would have been late. So I didn't take it up there.
Right, I knew it was due yesterday early.
So. And I got,
Donations again.
It's not a pretty one. Where's Carl?
he's not coming tonight.
Out of town.
That's my opinion.
You want to pay for it?
No, I think we done it. And I've got these claims here, so I might as well.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah,
we
we will.
haven't done anything, which is supposed to be returned.
That's been changed tonight.
This, somebody needs to go talk to the auditor about this time, that we cannot owe this much and that much for automobile insurance.
No.
There's something wrong
Well, I
there.
told you you had 2 vehicles. We have to get rid of
Yes.
280.
Yes, but it still shouldn't have owed that. I can buy the 888, but what is this 24,000?
That was, does it say automatic?
Automobile, it says. So that cannot be
It's like
right.
the whole price of your.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not
So this one's gonna come off. And this, so somebody, you're gonna have to go over the auditor and make sure why they're billing us $105,000 for insurance.
Look at our budget. New budget last month.
Yeah.
It was, we needed to do some insurance that was, they were anticipated, but that's a whole.
And I don't know whose signature this is, but
Yeah, I can't read that in.
so Rachel's signature's on there. So-
Rachel will be able to speak to it because she was still there.
So you need to go or take one.
Yeah, you're on the clock, so I'm in Rachel's office.
I wrote this out, but did not submit it because it can go on to the next, because I was already late, so.
Well, I had to call and remind her that we owed her. Oh, wait, no.
And this one is also can wait. So I wrote it out, but didn't submit it.
I asked her to resubmit a new invoice without the tax because I caught it later, so we can hold on that and get a new.
Well, I didn't turn any of those in. Those are the only 2 that really need to be submitted that I worked on. And this one needs to be reviewed with the auditor to find out what's wrong with that insurance. And
I'm
there's
just
still
gonna send her his claims.
Okay, that's your claims book. So.
Oh, in there too. 601.
Sorry.
Your.
Which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. First order of business, we were going to introduce our new superintendent. Amy?
Hi, hello, everyone. I did write something down to read, so I'll just go ahead and do that. Hello, everyone. My name is Amy Flora. I'd like to tell you a little about myself. After 26 years of teaching in the Knox Community School System, I felt it was time for something new in my career. In my last year of teaching, I taught and studied agriculture. I became interested in topics such as ecology, forestry, and local natural resources. And in addition, I love the outdoors. My family enjoys camping. I raised my kids going to Bass Lake Beach in the summers. And we have utilized the Stark County Forest many times. So when this position became available, I thought it would be a perfect blend of my hobbies and interests, knowledge, and skill set from my years of in education. I look forward to building relationships with the people I'll be working with and for, getting feedback and hearing ideas, and then working to make those ideas happen in order to improve Stark County parks to their highest potential. I'd like to thank the board for this opportunity and thank the rest of you in advance for your support.
Yes.
I do at this time, want to make a brief statement to Dick.
Sure.
For the folks that may not know, Amy Flora happens to be my daughter. That presents a few interesting choices. When I was a commissioner, there was, the state did come up with a nepotism law. And that said that, one family member cannot be in a position to supervise another family member. So I believe I supported that ordinance. I believe in following the rules. So when we conducted the interviews, I did not participate in the interview with Amy. And I did not participate in the deliberations. In fact, I offered to leave the room so they could deliberate. And I informed the board at that time that if they decided that Amy was the best candidate for this job, and frankly, not just because I'm her mother, but she was clearly the best candidate for this job, that upon her appointment, I would be in a position where I'd have to make a choice to resign from this board. So upon the conclusion of our meeting tonight, because she's here, she's not getting paid to be here tonight. She doesn't start till tomorrow. So upon the conclusion of this meeting this evening, I will tender my resignation as a member of this board. And I'm gonna I was excited about being on this board, so I'm gonna miss it. But I will say I'd be happy to volunteer. I can't even be her employee because then she'd be supervising me. And for a lot of reasons, that just would not work. So, but I think you will find Amy to be very refreshing, to be very excited, very energetic, and easy to work with. So welcome to my daughter, and say farewell to me at the end of the meeting. And but I'll be around, so I can do some volunteering. I can do be a lend an ear, give advice, but I just can't be in a position to supervise anything or make any kind of decision. So I'll miss that. So anyway, I appreciate working with, and I didn't tell them that either until after it became kind of clear who they were gonna. I didn't tell them up front. So, and I did not tell Amy either, because I didn't want her to feel like she could not apply for the job she really, really wanted to have. And I was afraid that she might think that she'd be kicking me out of, and I'm an old lady, so it's time for me to retire a little bit. So anyway, good luck, Amy. Love you. You guys are gonna love her just like I do. So.
And we all voted for Amy in a executive session. Tonight, I'd like to make it official in a public session. I take a motion to vote for.
Yeah, so I would make a motion that we appoint Amy Flora as the new superintendent of Stark Parks.
Your
I'll
second,
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And I will abstain.
Congratulations, Amy.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you.
I'm expecting to get to work on them all.
Bright and early. I'll be there.
The next thing on my agenda is a Kramer Beach request for sand. Kathy Henson.
Kathy Hensel. I just want to show you a picture. I did take a picture because I'm the one that cleans beach, you
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
maintains it. And our sand level is extremely low now. This is the Hags fence here, but see how he had to even put a board there so the dog couldn't get under. Can you see how low that is? That's very, very low. I've never seen the beach sand that way.
Is it because we've had so much rain and it's eroding, do you think?
I don't know.
Was it erosion?
Also, the sand that we had was very packed, you know, that Ted got.
Right.
And it was more coarse sand, so anyhow.
Yeah.
It's very, very low, so we're just requesting some sand from the board,
Okay.
and if you could supply some, we'd really appreciate it. Before the road's all wet.
Angela, didn't we have a source for sand?
Yes,
At some point? We still have that?
I'm assuming so.
Okay. Do you have an idea how much sand you need?
Do you know how much you gave us last time?
Oh, I forget. I'll have to go back through the minutes.
I'm thinking it was 2 or 3 dump, I
That
remember
was
that.
dump load, yeah.
Dump truck loads.
Well, at least that much.
Yeah,
Because I've never seen it this low, and I've been cleaning the beach now for about 3 or 4 years. and I've
yeah,
never-
you might need a little extra, so.
We can look into that, Kathy, and as soon as we secure that, we found it, and it's probably gonna be an issue is getting it delivered and spread. If we get it delivered, are you able to spread it?
Ted did last time, so he probably, I think I contacted him, he probably will do it.
Okay,
So, thank you.
we'll be in touch on that, I promise.
Thank you.
We need a motion on that.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Well, I would ask something else before we just get this in.
Mhm.
I would like to have somebody, I've already looked at it. The pit run sand. It's a lot more expensive, but it's just beautiful. 4 beaches, you can use it on the beach, it's not just dug out of the ground and hauled out there and thrown on the beach.
We're,
They're right at Highway 6,
uh-huh,
right down 600. Yeah, at the end of 600 and Highway 6, there's a pit there
okay.
and they got a ton of it.
Is there a name for that place, do you know? We can drive by and look.
It's easy to find.
Then there is another pit on 39 again too,
Have they opened again?
on the opposite side of it, where the old hunt club used to.
Down the road a ways, or can you see it from 30?
You gotta drive down, you'll see the big block wall.
Okay,
This is softer sand, Sam? Is
what's
it-
that?
Is it softer sand or?
Let's put it like this, it's young man out here that has built a beach or two. That's where they got it. They bought their beach sand from them. Now, how much, I don't know what the price of it is. I know it's not cheap. And they're not giving it, they're in business to make money, so I don't know what a ton of sand costs, but it might be $5-6 a ton. I don't know. But it's nice, it's clean. You don't have a little of this mixed in with it, a little of that mixed in it. It's not grainy, it's all one. It's just like going to the beach.
I don't want that real grainy that we have now. Because it's down so hard, it's even hard to break it.
Well, this doesn't tend to pack like that.
So would you like me to revise that motion slightly?
Yeah, why don't we authorize it and then have Angelina or.
Check into it and just see what the
Check
difference in
into it.
price is.
Yeah,
And if it's not more than 10% or something like that, then
yeah.
Go ahead and get it or get bids.
I would say as long as the pit sand isn't more than 10% more expensive,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
or some percentage. I don't feel like that.
I just know it's much better sand. It's clean.
okay.
You won't have rocks in it. You won't have any crap in it. It's nice, clean, white sand.
Well, we might be better served to get a couple of quotes. Just because that might be the best thing to do. So I guess I'll read.
If it's under 2,000, we don't have to get approval.
I know we
correct?
don't have to.
But I'm saying if we ascertain that it's within budget and we find out it's good, as opposed to waiting and tabling it another month, can we just send you all an email and then you can do a referendum at the next meeting that you've already approved it contingent on getting the right price for the
I'd
right
like them
sand?
to, yes, well, I'd be okay with that, because I would like them to get their sand. I mean, the season's almost.
I know,
over.
that's what I'm
Would be
thinking.
the point of us taking sand out there like in October, I guess. Not much, right?
You can still rake it in October, I mean, get paid for it then, but I don't want people to think that we're not.
Process. It's all out there, they're just giving out.
Well, then Sam, I'll just retract my motion, period, and I'll let somebody else make the motion.
The new superintendent and Angelina can just get us some quotes on the difference between what we put in there last time and what this pit sand is. Then we can send around an email and see if we can
Agree, okay.
agree.
So
That's what I. would
that's the
suggest.
contingency you all just made a motion on. correct?
That's what, yes, that was my motion.
As long as it's under the amount of money that we can authorize without,
Right,
just on the superintendent.
That's what my motion was. There you go.
Very good.
we'll be in touch, Kathy.
You're welcome. Okay, next on the agenda is the Troyer Group presentation of the improvement. Out at the Bass Lake Beach.
Thank you. So we've been working on getting the plans, finished up and, about like a 90% complete set. Was sent out for your review. And then the next step will be getting DNR review of the plans. And then I was about 4 weeks ago, we heard from them, they're expecting the federal approval in September. So at that point, we would be able to actually go out for bids, for the project. So hopefully it still comes in September, but fingers crossed. So definitely keep you posted as soon as we hear anything. A couple of items, amendments that, came up. I've been talking with Tracy about, she wasn't sure if she could approve these or if it needed to come to the park board, and maybe she could have, because they're both under 2,000, but either way, like to make sure you guys are up to date. The first one was for the work associated with this historic preservation. We had an agreement that we do the early coordination, and if they came back needing more detailed information on stuff, it'd be an additional service. So we have an amendment here for $1,790, which covers costs for getting that additional information from the field existing conditions, putting together the report, coordinating with the state office. We are not charging anything additional for any of the design work for that. Maybe do some additional details for the windows and some coordination since then. But this was just for that initial report and coordination with SHPO. So that amendment, $1,790, needs to be discussed or approved for approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions about that.
Mike, how many hours of work is that about? I mean, is it based on the contract what we had originally agreed?
Yeah, so we have our hourly rates, depends on position, and our sub-consultants, they vary from $80 to $150 an hour.
Right.
Like I said, our sub-consultants just billed for that initial stuff. I probably only did about half of our hours even on that first time. So those, I know cost of course a concern, so mainly we just wanted to cover our costs on this.
Right.
Is that an estimate or has the work been completed?
No, it's been completed
Okay,
now,
so you know
there's still
exactly.
some additional design or coordination that may be needed, but we did receive, when we submitted that additional information, we did receive a letter from SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Officer, stating that we met, the information we provided met their approval. Basically, we just needed to mimic the historic window buttons with the new design, for any of the window replacement, and then the remaining kind of overall work just has to follow the Secretary of Interior standards for historic renovations. And, that's something that we would, that always planned on doing anyways, so there's no additional work there.
Is there a motion to, approve that?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. And then there's a lot of the documents, your request here that we can keep for the record too, right?
Yeah, yep, so that has the existing contract totals and then the amendment total. The other one, our mechanical plumbing engineer brought up, doing a, scoping of the sanitary sewer pipe, in the beach house going under the slab. We looked through existing drawings, didn't have good information on, you know, the exact location, the size, and then they wanted to do a scoping to make sure it was good condition before, you know, we do all this work inside the beach house to do all the restroom renovations and then connect to a line that may or may not be in good condition. So this is something that could be done during construction. We could put it in our bid documents and have the contractor do that and include it in their costs. But he recommended that we do this sooner the better. So that way, if there is something noticed, it would be better to revise things now and include it in our bid rather than waiting and doing a change order if something were to be seen during construction and then we'd have to, you know, fix something or do something then. So this one is an estimated total, 1,412. You can see it's for the drive time, the televised and location of the pipe, and then if it is in good condition and we want to reuse it, they also have an alternate in there for 2 hours of drain cleaning, if you want to do that.
What if we find it's not?
If it's not, then we would include in the bid documents replacement of that.
Can you speculate that kind of cost?
I would have to check with our plumbing
Can you?
engineer, but it would, depending on how far under the slab and access and what kind of the ripple effect would be, or if they could line the pipe potentially. So there could be some different options depending on what they find on that scoping. But I would recommend doing it now. They recommended a plumbing contractor that does this work and they've worked with before, but we'd also be happy to work with someone that, you know, you guys would want to use.
Do we know exactly how far that line goes? I mean, it goes from the beach house to where? All the way back to the lift station? Or
Back to the lift station.
Or back to the-
It goes from the beach house, it goes from the bathhouse and the beach to the beach house, from the beach house to the bathhouse on the campground side. And from there, it goes to the lift station. That's the path that takes.
That connects all of those.
Okay, so you're talking about both of those lines going to from the.
This would be just for, as I understand it, from within the, like, under the slab of the beach house
Okay,
out to, you know, 10 feet outside the building or kind of wherever it would connect to
Okay.
that main. Is that how you remember it, Krista?
Yeah, we weren't going to scope the entire thing because that would be cost prohibitive. So it's just where we would be connecting to the system that's already in place.
I guess we might as well do it, but I'm just not sure that it's surely isn't gonna solve all the problems we have out there.
No, but it's certainly gonna help
a
identify
start.
them, and I
It's a
think it's
start.
paramount that we do that.
It's a start.
It's better to have it in the construction documents, so it's bid rather than it being a change order and added. So that's kind of our anticipation, is to be able to know ahead of time. We don't want surprises and extra money during
It's delay,
construction.
yeah, 'cause it could delay things once you
Mhm.
finally get to construction and then.
Now, let me ask you another question. When you're talking, I know we're talking beach house now.
Yeah.
We are also talking about renovating the beachside bathrooms. Is that something you're going to recommend to do at that point as well? Or would you do that all at once if they're connected?
This one was he just had a concern with the beach house building
Mhm.
itself. So.
Okay, well, so my question was,
believe
if
the-
it goes from the bathhouse to the beach house,
Yeah,
then, you know, that's gonna affect that coming in.
yeah, so the like just restroom, standalone restroom building at the beach.
Down at the north end.
Yeah, farther to the north end. Maybe it's just the way that plumbing is towards the exterior.
Well, may I-
they could get.
Yeah, so the restroom building at the beach might flow that way, but it's not connected to the beach house. It's to tie into a pipe at a different location, so the sewage isn't coming into the beach house and then leaving again. So we're only concerned with where the sewage leaves the bathhouse.
The
Beach
house.
house.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so it's the
beach
big
house,
building,
gotcha.
that, you know, the beach house and then the campground restaurant. So they didn't have a concern, they could see and they could track as far as they could, the pipe in those buildings, and they didn't have a concern.
Oh, good.
It's just where, we don't know where the main sewer ties into the campground, or not, I mean, the beach house building. So they're gonna scope it and see.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. I'll let Krista kind of give a quick,
Yeah.
update on the design and.
Yeah, we had sent over last week, the 90% set, as well as, I think yesterday we sent over some visuals. You can see what kind of finishes and furnishings. We had chosen, of course, these are a basis of design. If you aren't, in favor of any of those things, we can change them. Now's the time to do it. So we were just wondering if you had any questions, about any of that. Yes,
I have a question. How come we got so many dark colors? Can't we lighten something up?
dark colors in the
In the
paint
paint.
inside. That is
Yes.
exactly why we're here.
I
Yes.
thought there was a mention that it would be more of a blue.
A blue inside?
No, the outside.
Oh, the outside.
Kind
It
of
can
teal.
be. I don't think we had ever talked about a specific color.
Okay, I thought we
Um,
had.
We had just recommended some color schemes based on a more craftsman, arts and crafts twenties kind of feel.
I think what we're trying to make sure we get away from is not to have the appearance of a state park. And a lot of those colors were reminiscent of a state park when I looked at it.
Oh, the greens and stuff.
That browns.
The exterior color that you sent. Okay, and we had like 2 or 3 different greens. We got a blue.
I'll have to look at it again, maybe.
So we can choose anything, that's the thing, is that we need input, if you're not happy with something. I also agree with, the color scheme inside, I felt was a little dark, that was chosen by the architect. So yes, I would be with you on,
Like that.
mellowing that down a little,
Yeah.
because we're leaving all of the wood and we've got all the wood beam structure.
So we want
And
the
the brick
light
is
and the color.
staying and that's gonna be polished. Yeah, and so we're adding a lot more light fixtures, and we're adding 2 fans in the ceiling. And different kinds of light fixtures. In the utilitarian spaces, it's just laying ceiling. And in the watertight spaces, it's drywall. And then in the front entry where we're taking out all of that extra built, we're gonna enclose it again with just tongue root pine and just leave it. So it's economical and kind of rustic treatment that's adding more texture to the interior, the main public space. So I would agree at paint colors. We can definitely do a couple of more renditions of what they would look like and we can send them over. And maybe get an email kind of vote if we
Right.
want.
I would say lighten them up because,
Definitely,
dark colors, first of all, are depressing.
I agree. And there's light stuff and this is a beach house. so-
Everybody walking around wearing the black. You know, ugly world it would be.
Thank you. I agree with you, Krista.
You know, you don't make a kid's playground and a room for all these children. You want them to be happy, you want them to be bright, you want them to something.
I agree.
So why make it a dungeon for the rest?
I know, we're just trying to make a man cave or something. Don't worry, we're on, let's put together some more appropriate schemes that will fit a beach house and we will send them right over.
And I'll agree with whatever the board says, because I'm not the guy to pick colors, I'm colorblind, so. Sorry, that's anybody else.
Like the benches, the trash cans, or where we were putting the rain garden kind
Can I
of
see
catch
the
basin areas.
Hard copy again. I gave it away.
And we also have boards to look at for the rest of the room. So there's the beach house. And then we've got the playgrounds, so I don't know, but we'll put them here.
Can you kind of maybe just pan the room?
Oh, sure. Okay, so here's the color rendering. Hello. Of the playgrounds and their equipment. So if you want to come over and look. Of
That's on the
course-
campground side, correct?
Yeah, no, the
On the
one
beach
is the
side?
beach. The beach
Okay. where's
playground,
beach?
campground playground.
Okay.
So
we had discussed this in a design committee meeting, and the structures and the locations had been agreed upon during the design committee meeting. So that's kind of what you're looking at. Of course, it's very budget oriented, so it's not a lot of equipment. But we made sure to pick equipment that the most children could use at the same time. We didn't spend a lot of money on decks and posts, so it's all ground accessed with rope structures and climbing structures. It's equipment that doesn't necessarily tell you how to use it. So you can hang out on it, you can climb it, you can do whatever. So
Now
it's
that,
not just.
the one that's in the beach area.
Huh?
One that's in the beach area.
Mhm.
What is the base? What is
Engineered wood fiber. Both of them would be engineered wood fiber.
What is that?
Well, it is specially produced wood mulch that is specific for playground use because it follows the ADA guidelines. It's considered accessible. And it also meets the impact attenuation, which means how it makes the kids bounce when they go. I guess you could say. And so it is the least expensive of the playground safety surfacings. And so that is what we recommend.
How will that be encapsulated to keep it in there?
Concrete curb.
Okay.
Yep. And we don't have much of a drainage layer because it's sand. So we didn't add more stone or anything in that aspect. So the campground we did because I was here earlier in the summer, spring, and it wasn't, you couldn't even see grass. It was all water. So, so we didn't have a lot of money in the budget to do grading and storm drainage. So what we did is we created basins around the site to kind of direct the water into low spots that aren't in the pavement or where you walk, so the little flower areas. And we would propose to grow native wildflowers in those areas and just let them go natural. And then you just don't mow them. Or you mow them once a year. And so hopefully we're trying to redirect the water so it's not so flooded. Because in reality, this out here at the drive is higher than the building floor elevation. So we had to do a lot of kind of maneuvering on slopes and angles. There we go. And then we also had included pictures of trash cans and bike racks and where we would have benches. So you have those to look at.
Are you able to leave this with us?
Yeah, as long as you let them know that things are subject to change based
I
on.
think it's more for the board.
Okay, that's definitely.
Actually sit down and.
We kind of hope to leave them.
Perfect, thank you.
I'm leery about public consumption.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
because nothing's decided.
Right, so there you go, basis of design.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
We got one for the bid if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
You said in September you're gonna maybe start taking bids.
Yeah,
So when you do that, you're gonna ask them, we don't want someone to take a bid and then not start till next July. You know what I mean?
Correct,
If
yeah.
you would put it in the bid, we need to know when they're gonna start.
yep. So we'd have the project manual that would spell out, the length of construction. We know substantial completion date in there. We could put interim requirements in there. The more you constrict the schedule, sometimes it can hurt the number of bidders or the price of the bid. So we kind of want to balance that to make sure they get it done, with still getting a competitive balance in the bids.
I think the goal is to phase it. So this winter, we would start the interior work.
Right.
And hopefully wrap that up or to a point where it's almost complete when the season opens. And then we would do the site work.
I mean, it's up to the board, but I just made a suggestion,
Definitely.
You
don't want to wait until next.
Yeah.
I have the same question is that if we're phasing it, obviously the beach will close first. That closes Labor Day, basically as far as it being manned, people still come and use it. But if you can concentrate there first, campground closes October 31st. If we could concentrate those first projects to be on that side, enabling the campers to finish their season. Hopefully by spring, we can
Oh, yeah.
look at completion date.
That's just kind of a rolling as, like you said, as things close and reopen. We will work with the contractor to make sure that things are moving along even when it might just be one building. That things are always moving along and the work's getting done.
So, Mike, so would you have to this board, like the bid package, the schedule, all of that for our September meeting or some time before our September meeting, or is it more like October?
It depends on when we get the federal approval is the main thing,
Right.
but once we get DNR's approval on the plans.
Right.
They look mostly at accessibility and are we satisfying the grant requirements? And then if the board's okay with it, we can go out to bid. We, probably align the bidding window with having bids opened at a park board meeting or council meeting.
Right.
So we want to have those opened at a public meeting. And then give contractors probably a minimum of a month to get those bids together.
So I guess that'd be my question, Don, since this is money coming from the council to do this, how much do we have to, I guess we have to involve them in actually this bid process as well? Or at least coordinate it with them, or,
Just coordinate with them.
Well, I'm just saying they're giving money, so I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so the part of the contract will probably give you a schedule of payments and how you will pay for that, and that's what you'll share with I'm
The council.
assuming, I mean, every project I've ever done before, that's been included, and so they'll tell you, well, on this, you gotta pay by this time or so much of that, and that's what you can share with the council.
So we have, with the estimate, we wanted to get some flexibility, and with the budget, some flexibility in accepting the bids. We've had projects in the last 6 months that have had 7 bidders and quite a few of those under budget. We had one in North Judson, about 9 months ago that we only had 1 bidder and they were high, very high. And so we tried to rebid it. Contractor said they were gonna bid and they didn't, and we still got the same bidder. That was also an LWCF project, so the town decided to move forward. But it's hard to control what you're getting on bids and, Don's point, like, so on that one, when we did the second bidding, we extended the construction period like 3 months, because we heard from contractors they couldn't get all their subs out there and coordinate everything. So we extended it 3 months and we still didn't get more bids. So it is, also what we really been trying to do is get bid alternates, so there's flexibility in, accepting these bids. So what we're gonna do is, have the beach house and then the associated site improvements, the beach playground, and all be the base bid. We have to have some, minimum stuff in the base bid to satisfy the grant requirements, but then do, the gatehouses, the beach restrooms, the campground restrooms as alternates. The estimate of everything is about $300,000 more than what it was at the application. Most of that cost is on increased scope in the campground restrooms and the beach restrooms. When the mechanical plumbing engineers got in there, more needed replaced than what the architect had found in the preliminary study. I think it makes sense to, do one of those buildings right and fully, then kind of half on both. So I'd recommend kind of going with this, identifying alternates, and then we see how the bids come in and we can select accordingly on, what would fit the budget that was approved.
So that would be something that we could review with you all between now and our next meeting to kind of get that ironed out so that we're all on the same page.
Yeah, and we just got costs, late last week
Right.
for all the mechanical and plumbing systems.
So obviously there's
So-
gonna have to be some narrowing if,
So that's where, okay, we can
or,
try to, reduce some of the scope in some of those buildings. And
Right.
again, the beach house was pretty close to the initial estimate. It was really the campground and beach restroom buildings that were a lot more than what the original estimate was. So
But is that where we don't also have the opportunity to trim some of the fluff that we have in there as far as the nicer things? We can reduce some of these costs by reducing some of the niceties that are being included in here that we could live without?
We could, however, it is so basic bones, we're not.
Yeah, there isn't much
We're-
there.
There's no fluff, because we have to meet the
Understand,
grant
yeah.
requirements.
Yeah.
So we,
So,
we.
The good thing is we kind of had all of those outlined as, desired to be included in this project. But since we're already improving, let's say we didn't do the beach restrooms, well, we are improving restrooms in the beach house. So there wouldn't be an issue with the DNR grant requirement. If we took away both playgrounds, they'd have an issue with that,
Right.
because we got points in the application for those.
For
playgrounds.
So I guess that's just something for us to discuss at the next meeting.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next thing I have is, yes,
Excuse me, I'm sorry, before they leave, I had a couple questions, the new sewer line that you're talking about scoping, okay, are you gonna scope that outside the new, sidewalks?
No,
That far out?
this was just within the slab of the building out, and as far as they could
About
go 10 feet outside the building roughly.
Would that be outside the sidewalk? And the reason I'm asking is if you have to do something, then you have to tear up the sidewalk.
Yeah,
Yeah, you would if
So
you
we-
came back in later, yeah.
so we could have them try to get at least out past the sidewalk to where
Right.
the gravel
In case you gotta
starts.
do it, then
Yeah.
you don't have to tear that up. The other thing is, what's the maintenance on the wood that you're using and
Yeah, that's a good question. You do have to regularly rake it to fluff it back up because it does compact. And that's good because the compaction, it gears the wood together so a wheelchair can go over it. But what that does is diminish the amount of inches that you have. And that impacts your safety servicing capabilities. So yes, fluffing it, just raking it maybe once a season or halfway through the season. But every 5 to 10 years, you will probably have to order more to top it off.
you don't have to remove it? You can
No,
add
you just
to
top it
it.
off, yes, yes.
Okay.
And as noted, it is the cheapest form of, sand does not qualify and pea gravel does not qualify.
Correct, yeah.
Mhm, Just to
And
let
that-
y'all know.
That mulch,
Even though we're on the beach, it don't count.
it will last longer than a landscape mulch.
Oh, yeah.
But it does, like you said, under swings or slides, it gets kicked around, so.
Well,
it's important
landscape
to kind
mulch
of
does
rake it.
not meet ADA or safety guidelines whatsoever, plus it's very, very dirty.
So that is something to consider for long-term maintenance, that you would want to replace it with that engineered fiber mulch. And not just put landscape mulch in there, because then it wouldn't
Yeah,
meet requirements.
this is clean and it's been cut the right way. There's no debris.
The other question I had is that, just has, that building's been there for how long? Since the
30s.
thirties?
Mhm.
So the water,
There is no water line connecting right now, so we have to run a new line to that little hut.
okay,
Yeah, the house.
yep. And, does this building have to be kept up with a historical society?
No.
Okay. And like Angelina said, we've got all kinds of problems with our sewer.
Did I say that?
Okay, well, as far as I know, we do. Are we going to address that?
No, not tonight.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with this
You
plan.
guys.
We need to take care of business now. We'll get to that.
It's sure not included in any of the grant or all that stuff.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you. I'll go that way.
Okay, next thing I have is the Prairie Trail Group. Ray signings, Kathy Carrier.
Yeah, I don't know that unless, but yeah, I didn't Kathy was gonna be here. She had sent me a request saying that they wanted to add an additional sign for the Prairie Trails Bike Group. The one that they had placed at the south end of the beach is not very large and they wanna. 4 by 6. Yeah, they wanna come up with a new one We've always been very supportive of, that group and giving directions to get to the trail. So, they're gonna put together a line and show us, and then once I have that, I'll bring it to the board. That we just want, they just want to make sure that we're okay with them putting another sign on there, and I didn't think we'd had a problem.
Okay. Discussion on securing bids for metered electric.
Well, I asked the engineer to put this on because at the budget workshop, there was at least one council person, maybe a couple others that wanted me to bring to the park board. The idea, which has already been here for years, to go out and get bids for individual meters at the campground. Now, doing my job, I bring it to here, but right now, my opinion is you need to table this for now, because there's so many other issues going on out there. The electric meter.
Well, I would agree with that. I did talk to Todd as well, and he said that he had a friend that had done that, that was an electrician, or
Right.
that was their line of work. And they had spent $50,000 to do that, and I said, well, I'd like to meet that guy, number one, because all the bids we ever got, when we talked about that in the past, it was like $250,000. And before we get bids or quotes, we've got to have a scope of work. So, that would require us to have an engineer most come in and take a look and tell us what we need for that. So just something to keep in mind. But yes, I agree that, we've got to correct this pump problem first before we,
Do anything like this.
yeah.
Okay.
But so I did my job. I got it here, and
Well, I think that's what he said. It's a motion to table, right?
I would make a motion that we table this for further discussion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Lift station.
Okay, I'll try to be brief, but I'm gonna tell you, for the last 7 weeks, I have been consumed by the lift station. Okay, everybody knew the pumps we bought from Watermark went down. I'm gonna give you briefly, before this debacle started 7 weeks ago, we had already spent 23,000 just in those pumps, the control panel and getting it installed. What's this year, or was that? That was last year's purchase for this year. Then when it went down, because of what has happened, we had to have an emergency electrician to come out, because that's when they were saying that pumps needed an electrician to find out if they were inoperable. So we had that FJF come out. That was $750. Then we had to have Harper Electric come out the second time. That was $390. We went ahead and purchased a Liberty pump through Dan Fox, which is the gentleman from Asbury Water Solutions, who Bob Loy referred us to. Most incredible man. He came out, he was knowledgeable, he spoke in layman terms, he made his recommendations. And because all I'm getting from Watermark and from Rensselaer Pump is they don't know where our pumps are, they don't know what they're going to do with them. The guide claw that we needed to be able to put this Liberty pump in, we had to pay $383 because the claws went with the old pumps to Texas. So we purchased that. Then we paid $568 to Asbury to install it. We have paid $18,000 to DS&S to pump out water, basically groundwater. So since July, we've spent $22,197 on this pump issue.
And but it's operating.
We have one pump right now. I originally planned to come to this meeting and make a recommendation that we purchase that second Liberty pump. But I have been in communication with probably every player in Watermark and in Rensselaer Pumps, Rensselaer Septic. As of last night, I was told that basically they don't know where our pumps are. They're not going to send us new pumps. And I was like, okay. And I've worked with this guy named Justin Work, who his normal job is he's in charge of inventory and purchasing and billing for Watermark. He's never gotten involved in this, but God love him for doing it. So finally, he called today and he gave us great news. Ray from Homa Pumps, this I got to read this, is sending 2 new motors to Watermark in Texas. Watermark is going to put those new pumps in, or the new motors in the pumps. They're going to send the pumps back to Watermark in Indianapolis, where they will then come out. They will have SOS who does their install and does their startup, come out, install it. All this is gonna be done at no charge. Plus, they're going to reimburse us for that claw that we had to pay for through the credit card to get this temporary pump in. So the long and the short of it, we're probably not looking, we have to pay freight, which is gonna be about 300-ish, which is the claw that we paid for. I'm feeling pretty optimistic right now, because I didn't think they were gonna come through. I thought we were gonna end up having to do a lawsuit. I still want to move forward with getting with the insurance company to see if they can cover some of our losses due to downtime. That may be an option.
Time frame.
Time frame is, they said that, these should be installed around the week of the 26th.
Of August.
Yes,
Alright, so what happens to the one that's in there now then? They're getting.
we have a
Yeah.
backup pump.
With fair.
So that's gonna be removed, the Liberty pump is gonna be removed, and the original two pumps
We'll go back in.
will go back in now. Do they have the thermal protection, like?
They're the same pumps that we had before. They're grinder pumps. They're, we're getting what we got. Now you have two options. You can either leave the one Liberty pump in there and put the other Homa pump in with it. That takes a little bit of modification to the control panel, which Dan Fox had done when he put the Liberty pump in. He just had to change a wire and hook it to a different condenser or capacitor. My suggestion is, let's get these two pumps in. Let's go ahead and take the Liberty pump out. They're gonna re-warranty those pumps when they come in. And go from there. I feel like I found out.
What's their warranty on?
Their warranty should be 2 years, where the Liberty pump is 3 years, which is why I was all in favor of that second Liberty pump.
And how long have we had those two pumps before they both went bad?
The one we only had.
One was just a week, but how long?
Original pump they rebuilt. Okay, so it wasn't a new pump. They sent our old pump out and returned it rebuilt.
Okay.
So they went in April.
Both of them?
Yeah.
So do you have any documents that spell out what the warranty is, any kind of contracts, anything?
Unfortunately, with Watermark, I have not gotten that yet, but I did tell this Justin Rourke that we want that documentation this time, where we were not given it before.
Yeah.
Apparently, the reason that they're doing is that we paid for a startup. That means their company comes out, they check the amperage, the voltage, that everything is hooked up, running correctly. That's the startup that we paid for. Well, what happened was that they subcontracted that to Jack Capagna. And I have emails to substantiate this. Come to find out, when he did the startup and he sent it to Homa, they didn't catch that the amperages were way too high. And I have emails from the guy saying, I'm not surprised they burned up. So they're going to have SOS, which is their warranty or their installers, come out and install this, do the startup. So they will confirm that it's done accurately.
And they're not gonna charge or send the extra to pull the old pump or the
No.
one we just bought.
Hey, as easy as it was, I could do it myself. I couldn't believe how easy it went in, because I was out there with Dan when we did it. It was pretty easy.
Well, frankly, I don't, it sounds to me like this was all one big mess up. And not only do I think that we have the potential for a lawsuit here, we definitely need to contact Justin and talk to him about it, give him whatever we've got. Let him talk to Angelina, let her get, and the insurance company. I don't think that we should have to pay $22,000 or whatever it is to pump groundwater when they're the ones that failed to notice that the thing was installed with too high of an amp or whatever.
Well,
And I think they need to reimburse us.
Yeah, 'cause that's why I'm a little concerned about putting these two
Well,
back in and have the same thing happen.
I was very comfortable saying, let Justin go after Watermark.
Mhm.
Let's go get the second Liberty pump and have Dan Fox put it in and rock and roll. I'm very happy with that pump. It purrs like a kid. You
And
have
was
to-
this the $2,100 pump?
Yes. And I ordered it direct from Granger. Luckily, I called and we had an account there, so I was able to order it direct, and it actually came in less than what Dan Fox had quoted it to be. I mean, we look at paying that for one,
Get almost by 8 pumps for the cost of those two.
we paid $18,000 for 2 pumps.
There's something wrong with it, I see her, so, Exactly, so we do need to file a claim with the insurance company.
I
We
agree.
need to get Justin on it,
I've
if
called him
nothing
twice.
else
I haven't been able to get a response.
from Justin.
Yes,
He responds to my phone calls.
he typically does, but I know he's got a new job, so maybe he's just still
Well,
coming out.
Dick, maybe you need to call him and tell him he needs to get with Angelina or something, but I
Well,
don't.
I
think
agree
they
that we're
didn't
not
cost us
finished with
one
this.
penny, because they're the ones that made the huge error.
I agree, but I think right now, let's take these pumps and get running, because my next thing I wanted to say is we're getting ready to get more rain. The one pump we have right now is not, it's not gonna work when we get an influx. We're gonna end up having to have DS&S still come out and pump us.
Yeah.
Until we get that second pump in the ground.
Yeah,
So it's really up to you. Do you want me to just tell Watermark, forget it, and go after them in a lawsuit and go ahead and get the second little? Just because we were talking about. I'm saying it's a
It
lawsuit.
doesn't mean that we won't take those pumps.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I mean, I
that's
guess
not-
that would be up to the board, and I can't make that decision necessarily if we'd be better off with a Liberty, but I'm not an engineer.
Those pumps are still ours.
Well, then we want our pumps back, I guess, or we want the $18,000 that they cheated us out of.
Well, I think we still go after them for that.
Yes,
But maybe the way we move forward is go ahead and have. The individual who installed the pump. To pull that pump when they bring the new ones. They do the startup on the new ones, so they're completely responsible. There isn't anybody else involved. And if something happens to those pumps, they're responsible.
Okay, and I
And in that way, we don't.
said $100 an hour for labor, so I'll get him to come out and pull them the day before they tell me they're coming out.
Well, I would have them pull them when we have them in hand.
Well,
I'm just saying.
while they're there, or
Yeah, I
say
mean-
they're coming tomorrow, they have the pumps, they'll be there tomorrow. I get Dan out to pull them.
Yeah, I would have them in hand and we can run it for another day and then we can coordinate with them when they can install it. We can say we're gonna get all of the guy who put our pump in. He's gonna pull it out within the next couple of days and then you can install yours. We'll schedule it.
Okay,
I don't think they're gonna have a problem with
before
the
the rain.
schedule.
well, it's the rain's
Mother Nature's Mother
the rain's
Nature.
coming this week, and so what I wanted to tell you is that we are going to have to monitor that on a daily basis when it rains. If you see a few more $300 pump outs, that's the reason why.
I'm not
Well, yeah,
sure
you
we should.
cannot not
Second
pump
pump.
out if it's overflowing, otherwise you're gonna have sewage all over.
Well,
the-
they're returning two pumps, right? They're
Correct.
two operating.
And I'm just
With
saying,
new motors.
for right now,
You wanna.
it's a $2,100 pump versus we're guessing they're gonna fix this. I think that's much more in our favor, and if they do put their two back in, we've got two good pumps sitting on the shelf. So when they go again, we got them, and we don't have that much, we don't have $18,000 invested in them.
So you're recommending go ahead and purchasing that second
Yes.
Liberty pump to have
Yes.
available?
I don't know about that. Then we'll have four pumps. But
Well, that's right.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a tremendous amount of faith that these Homer pumps are gonna come back and not do the same thing they did.
I don't either.
Unless it really and truly was that the amperage was way too
Well,
high.
I guess what, you're saying the one that we just purchased and it was put in was $2,000 or $2,200.
2100.
It would be almost worth just to buy that second pump, and when these come in, put them on the shelf and they're spares.
Can you run
Yes.
Yeah, but wait, it wouldn't,
watermark pump with the other pump? Or
You
do they have to
can.
be running pairs?
you can. When I talked to Dan Fox about that, it's just a matter of modifying a little bit, but
Yeah.
the caveat to that is when they come in and do their startup, they're going to warranty the work that they've done. I don't know that that would,
I don't think that, in my view, I wouldn't wanna mix them because then one's gonna point to the other.
I wouldn't either. I'd say
If you only have one.
do the same pump in.
I kind of like what Sam says, that we buy the 2100 and put it in now. And you can take them out,
And then when those other ones come, we put them on the shelf as
so they're on the
spares.
shelf and we have them, and this happens again,
Yeah.
we're not scrambling
And
around.
we still go after them for the money.
so if I order that pump tomorrow is Wednesday, it will be here Thursday, and I could see if Dan could put it in on Thursday. Then you're saying operate those two pumps versus having pump outs until Watermark says we're coming to install, and then have Dan take those two out?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking? Okay,
Yes.
I just make sure I was clear.
I don't know, I can't take them, I just maybe leave them in and put those from water, put them in the shelf.
Yeah.
You can start at the liberty, Tommy.
Wasting the warranty.
Yeah.
Or at least never mind, either the two new ones or the one. back.
But if we know one's already been working.
Yeah, I think we.
Yeah, I wouldn't object to watermark.
Yeah.
So go ahead and purchase the other Liberty pump from Granger.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we purchase the second pump. To match the first one and from Granger and get it installed.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Very good.
Well, we also need to talk about whether or not we're gonna investigate the possibility of a lawsuit, because I think that's important, and I don't want that to.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be here anymore to be nagging you guys,
I hope we
Yeah,
do.
I'll get with Chris and have him contact Angeline and.
and the insurance
see where we're
company.
at, see where we're going with that.
So are you gonna call the insurance company, or you want Angelina or Amy to call the insurance company?
I want Chris to call the insurance company,
Who's Chris?
Chris Schramm.
Oh, okay,
I'll get Chris to coordinate with Angelina.
okay, perfect. That'd be perfect.
All right. Anything else about that?
No, I just want, you know, I've invested tremendous amount of time and energy in this, and I'm
Yeah.
glad to see that we're finally getting somewhere, but until we mitigate that water problem, we're never gonna be free of this.
And I gotta commend Angeline she did a really good job with this. I was out there one day when she was on the phone trying to get somebody to do something, and they were really giving her the runaround.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, it's been a nightmare.
yes, so,
We got through it. Well, we're not through it yet, but we're on the other side.
well,
Okay,
you stayed on it, and that was important, so.
Well, it was important to get done.
Mhm.
okay. Next, the Stark County Forest, the logging sale. Bruce, you done? Bruce?
There's 6 copies of what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Whoever wants one. Yeah. You know, I was here earlier this year and recommended this timber harvest, and you gave me the go ahead. I since marked the timber. I put together this bid sheet that we mailed out, so it's close to 50 companies that we invite to bid on these sales. And the companies have to be licensed and bonded in the state of Indiana. They have to be companies. I've been selling timber for 50 years. It's been part of my consulting forestry business. I've had over 1,000 timber sales. So, in fact, I was just thinking on the way in here, this will be my 7th timber sale on this property alone. And it'll be our 3rd one since it's been Stark County Forest. And, so why are we doing a timber sale? There's, several reasons for this particular sale. The first one is that the general management plan for the property is to have a timber sale about every 5 years. And that keeps a general, somewhat for a forest at least, even flow of income into the budgets and into our fund at the auditor's office. And it allows us to have timber sales that are big enough to work. If you have too small of a timber sale, timber companies aren't interested in bidding on it. You don't get any, got one guy said you got 1 bid. Well, we got 4 bids on a sale that we had 7 years ago out there, and this one's just about exactly the same size. And so you have to have a big enough sale to generate competition so that you get an actual proper price. And so this sale is not a big sale, but it's big enough. It's just a nice average size sale that should definitely always work. And so so I want to have sales big enough that they work, and we get market price, we can get enough competition. And yet I don't want too big of timber sales because if they're too big, this is open to the public and it starts looking bad back there. You know, you don't want to overdo it. You want to maintain a beautiful property. And I've never, in the previous 2 sales, I never had 1 single complaint, so we must be doing it about right. So if to have a timber sale about every 5 years accomplishes all those things. You know, somewhat steady income, big enough, you can, if you have every 2 years, you might not be big enough. Or you would end up overcutting to do that, you know. So anyway, so I think it's been 7 years since the last one. I think it's time to do this sale. Another reason for this sale, and it actually is the reason I wanted to do it this year. That, you know, with trees, you know, that they can live to be 150 years old pretty easy. What's 1 or 2 years? And it gives you a chance to play the markets, and the markets are okay. Yeah, fantastic, they're fine. So Another reason I wanted to do it though was for the management of the property. We got, I've got on my records 605 walnut trees out there. 300 and some are 12 inches in diameter to 20 inches in diameter. Some of those are gonna be in part of the timber sales in 15 years. Within the next 15 years, we're gonna start getting to those walnut trees and the money will be completely different than this one. I mean, we're gonna be talking a factor of 10 times better money than what we're talking about here. And we'll only be having a handful of trees. Now, anybody can sell those trees. I mean, it's like, literally, to sell. So, but we're about 15 years away, but we wanna keep the growth of these trees at the rate they are. There's a lot of reasons for that. One is that it takes so long, but also the quality is better. A healthy tree is higher quality. So, in the tree planting immediately west of the parking lot, planted in 1998. There's walnut trees in there that are being heavily competed with tulip trees. The tulip trees are like 18 inches in diameter, and the walnut trees are 14. And so if you wait too long we can sell them. If we wait too long to sell them, then you can't get them down without damaging the walnut trees because they become too big and it's almost impossible. And if you wait too long, well, then you're kind of missing the point because we want to get them out now so we can continue the very good growth rate that are on those walnut trees. We don't want them to get slowed down. So now's the time to release those walnut trees from that parcel right there on the west side of the parking lot. On the east side of the lane going back to the marsh, in a 1986 tree planting, there's another group of the same exact thing. Tulip trees that need to be cut down to release walnut trees, exactly the same thing. There's also just a few soft maples that mixed in, but it's mostly tulip. I think there's like 4 soft maples in one spot, 3 in another, but this is mostly tulip trees. Altogether, 74 tulip trees. And these are all were planted by me since I bought the property. Anyway, so there's 74 tulip trees, and you can see there's 7 soft maples. So it's mostly tulip that we're talking about, but the soft maples are doing exactly the same thing and they're being marked for exactly the same reason. And so there was 30 trees to the east of that lane going back to the marsh, tulip trees. And then there's that's area 3 and 4. On the other side of the marsh, there's an area 2 that was planted in 1986 also, and there's another 23 tulip trees in there, and they're all being marked to release walnut trees. Because they're going to be. I'm 75 years old. I'll be long gone, and these will be paying all the bills. I'll tell you, and that's why we're taking care of them now. And it's kind of neat that we can sell trees, actually make money to do it. That's not everything works that way. So another reason to do it is every 5 years. This has been 7 years, but when we say 5 years, we're talking about 7 years works. We want, one of the beauties of this property is diversity. It is very diverse out there. Some properties you've seen 1 acre, you've seen the whole place. That is not the case in the Stark County. And timber sales like this periodically shake it up, keep that diversity going. And so these sales are never in the same spot. In any given area, we're at least 20 years between timber sales. It's just that we have a timber sale every 5 years on the Stark County for us, but on any one given spot out there, it's going to be probably 20 years between timber sales on any given spot. So you don't have so we can keep it pretty and it work. The way we do these timber sales is I'm doing them because as you know, I volunteered to do all this with the idea that we're going to get that bank account in the auditor's office to the point by the time I'm gone that all you have to do is sell a few walnut trees and I think we're dead on to that. I think we're going to do that. So, but I did timber mark and I anticipate mailing these bids. I got a list there on that sheet I handed out. I'm going to update that at the last minute. I mentored 7 foresters and they're out there working and they're in the markets every day. I retired 3 years ago. So I just called them on the phone and I asked them how are the markets. Yeah. So we decided to go ahead. I'm doing one a timber sale of my own. I got some beautiful red oak I've got marked to sale up at Fish Lake. I'm gonna do that bid opening on the same day. I'm gonna mail the bids out together, but my exhibit sale won't be here. It'll be in my office that afternoon. And the buyers will have a chance to phone in a bid and I can bring those phone in bids sealed up to this. But they also have a chance to be here. Read the way I got it set. I got the bid opening set for 6:30. But I assume you still have your meeting scheduled for October the 8th.
We do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I can change all this. That's why I'm giving you this tonight, because this is all.
Well, that was gonna be my question, Bruce. Did you want to have that sale during a board meeting? Would it be more appropriate to either do it prior to or afterward?
You tell me.
How do we do the last one, Bruce? Did you you just bid that separately, didn't you? And then came and brought the bids to the board, if I recall.
I think, yeah, I brought them to the board. We had them at the meeting, but there were nobody here. So I just opened the bids and I announced them, and that's probably what this one will be.
Okay,
It'll probably take about 5 minutes.
okay.
So this is just opening the bids that are actually coming into you.
Right.
They'll be sealed until they're opened at this meeting.
It's called a sealed bid timber sale. Every buyer, in the month between when I mail these out and until the 8th, so I'll be mailing them out just probably about the time of your next meeting, and this will be the meeting after that. So buyers have that whole month to go out. That's why there's a map and that's why I listed the
Right.
4 tracks separately so they can know what they're looking for. And so during that month, anybody that's interested is gonna go out there and look at this timber. And because all of them have bought literally hundreds of my timber sales, they won't even remeasure the trees probably. They'll look at them, but they know I'm consistent as, I've been told I'm as consistent as anybody can possibly be at estimating volume and timber. So they'll take my estimates, but they need to go with the quality and they need to go look at the access and different things like that. So the buyers will go out and look at it and formulate their bids. And then they're called sealed bid sales, but since the recession in 1980, it evolved to phone-in bids. And they're trusting me 100% that I'm not gonna disclose their bid, that I'm gonna seal the bid up and keep it confidential. And there's about another, now there's another half dozen consultants in Northern Indiana that are in that same category that buyers trust, and so they'll just phone the bids into them. And nobody's ever violated it, so that's what it's been for almost 50 years now. Not quite, but so it's always worked. But we call them sealed bid. They got one bid. They don't know what the other bidders are, and if we weren't willing to sell to the high bidder, we wouldn't have invited them. I simply don't invite people that I don't like. If they've proven that they don't do a good job of logging, I don't invite them. If they don't have an updated license and bond, I don't invite them. So we almost never have any problem. The terms of the sale, it has almost always been on all of our sales that we ask for a 10% down payment, a 25% down payment within 10 days of the sale. And then they owe us the balance of the money before they cut the first tree. And if they haven't logged it within a year, they owe us the balance at that point. So we give them 2 years to get it logged, because you never want to force a logger to into a short time period, because there's a little thing called the weather, there's a little thing called timber markets, there's little things called the mill burnt down, and they got to build a new mill. Whatever it is, if you go to less than a 2-year contract, nobody's gonna come to your state. I wouldn't either about the buyer. So usually they log it in that first season, but you can't force them to, because they got too many things to plan then.
Layperson question here.
Yeah.
So if it can come up to a year or two later where they can go get the trees, I don't know exactly which tree. Do you mark these trees somehow?
Trees are marked as a big blue spot on 2 sides. And the paint's good for about 5 years, so there's no problem.
There's no question about which is there.
Right.
Which isn't.
So they're all well marked. If you go out there in the Stark County Forest in the parking lot and you see big blue spots, you will. They're supposed to be seen. Those are the marked trees. And by the way, that's my signature. Any timber buyer in northern Indiana sees blue spots, they know exactly who marked it. Because I marked big blue spots. On two sides, actually. All of us foresters have our signature waypoint.
Sounds great.
Hmm?
Sounds great.
Oh, good.
Thank you,
Okay,
Chris.
I have a question about, because I'm retired, like I said, in my third year now of that. And, the last time I had a sale here and the previous time I had retired, well, I had, but every time I send out my own bid sheets, I still leave my letterhead for my business on the top. And the reason I do that is that it gives immediate name recognition, they know exactly what they got.
Right, right.
They know right from the, when they open the envelope, they know exactly what they're dealing with. But if you don't want me to have my letterhead for that reason on here, I can take that off and just put the Stark County Forest or some, I can put something else on there.
I don't think there's any problem with him using his.
Well,
letterhead,
because the
I
very
agree.
first line is owner Stark County
Yeah,
Parks, you know.
yeah,
And is that the address I should have? I put Park Department 108.
correct, yes.
Okay. You can see the map, you can see the different areas that are marked with hashes. The map looks kind of simple, it's all a line map, but if you find out when it comes to timber, the woods is a very cluttered place. And so if you use aerial photos, they're too cluttered, you can't see the things I need to see. So I draw these maps this way because I only put, everything on there is something they need to know and see. And after time, you find out what they need to have on the map. And I don't have anything else other than what they need on the map. And so that's, the map has a lot of information on it. So, this is. That's pretty well covered it. Yeah. So I will go ahead and I will double check the markets, but assuming the markets are still good, I will go ahead and there, so there could be a timber buyer here. All you do is at 6:30, we'll just announce if there's any buyers here. That, you know, that we've submitted in. Chances are I'll have all of them already folded up and onto the clipboard, you know, on folded paper. That we had either 4 or 5 bidders the last time. That's about what you would expect. When we get into the walnut in 15 or 20 years, whatever it is, I had a sale of my own last fall. I had 18 bidders from all over the world. These will be that good someday.
Hey, I got a question. Tulip tree, are we talking about Indiana state tree? Correct. Okay,
The rhododendron tulip.
okay, I thought so.
There's a tulip, that's a good question, because there's a tulip tree that is an ornamental that has the
Yes.
big flowers on it. That's a totally different, that is actually. Yeah, but that's not even in the same family or genus.
Very good. You need anything from us?
I just wanted one last thing. Thank you. We have that's coming up next June the 5th will be our 3rd annual World Environment Day at the Stark County Forest. And we're going to have a planning meeting sometime this coming week. Jackie Ryan from the Development Foundation, Eric Coughing, who's with the Heartland Artists at Plymouth, and myself, and anybody else that wants to join us.
Would you consider doing it on the weekend so we'll get better coverage?
Actually, you don't. June the 5th is, this is.
Is that a
World
weekend
Environment
this
Day
year?
is a worldwide version of Earth Day.
Right, I
It's just
understand what it
it's
is.
actually far more attended than Earth Day because this is the world event. And it's June the 5th. Period.
When is the meeting, Bruce?
We haven't said it yet.
Okay,
The 3 of us are on texting back and forth, trying to pick a date sometime next week.
sometime next week.
I'd like to come.
Yeah, I would hope you would actually. Our theme is going
You'll
to
have
be,
Tracy's old number, so you'll have a direct, you've already got that number.
okay, so you'll, oh, perfect, okay. So, the theme this year is going to be artists. You know, art of the forest art, or, you know, there's an incredible amount of art that goes on in the forest. And we plan on having a bunch of plein air artists out there stationed all around painting, you know, all day long. And they're hopefully, the current idea, we'll see if it works, that they'll be out there for 2 days prior to that, and they'll have a bunch of finished stuff to show as well as out their painting. We want somebody to do photography and take anybody for, we'll have a hike and have the photographer teaching people how to do photography in the woods. We're hoping to have somebody who does app, there's all kinds of these new apps on your cell phone. You can look up anything on your cell phone. I'm becoming an expert on wildflowers because of my app. And so there's a lot more than just wildflower apps. And so we want somebody to do a talk on apps and things like that. We're thinking about, we might have some wood carvers out there. That's the kind of thing. And the fact that the first time we did this, the first year, June the 5th landed on a Monday. So we thought, well, we're gonna have it 2 days because we thought Sunday would be better.
Remember that.
We actually had a better turnout on Monday. So we're just gonna stick with the day from now on.
And what day of the week will it be this year?
Thursday.
Thursday? Very good.
So, we got a lot of hopes, and we think this is a great theme. And so we're actually talking about, if it works well, we might have it repeated every 2 or 3 years to really get, something built up, something that, people come and or know it's coming. And so that's the way we're looking on that.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
I'll see you next week.
Good.
Okay, we have approval of the minutes from July 9th, 2024. Did everybody get a chance to see the minutes online?
Yep.
Is there any discussion about the minutes?
Well, once again, this is the 3rd month in a row that I've tried to get the history of the harbor master position.
Did you not get my email last night?
What email last night?
Last night, when you mentioned it to me?
I didn't mention it to you. I sent an email.
Yeah, well, you sent an email to me about it.
Right.
What I did is I went through all of the minutes and the only thing, and I actually sent you a screenshot of this last night, unless you didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
This is from the June 14th, 2022 meeting. And wait, can let me finish, please? The only reference that I could find was where it says Tom is working to monitor, has the boats properly ordered, tied to the piers. Customers are being notified. He's also reported that he has been very successful in assigning slips as they become available. He gave an update on the current piers situation. You're asking me to give a history when I read through all the minutes where you were appointed a position and I can't modify something that I can't substantiate.
Okay, and that's absolutely not true. I didn't ask you to give a history. What I asked you to do was the history that I gave at that June meeting of what the position was to be included in the minutes.
I can't
That's it.
find it, Tom. That's what I'm trying
There's
to tell
nothing
you.
to,
I
there's
don't
nothing to,
understand why we're going on and on about.
there's nothing.
Wait, how about this?
There's nothing to find. All you gotta do is look at the June video, the July video.
I don't think
You
there
can
was
see.
a June video.
Yes,
First,
there is.
is there a June video? One of those
Yeah.
times it didn't come up.
This was the minutes. I didn't go through video. I went.
You
through
gotta
minutes.
go ahead and go through this.
We did not.
I'm
video
not gonna
this.
go through this again.
Wait,
I just refuse.
here's an option.
Right.
Why don't you meet with Amy? Let her write down what you want those minutes to be.
I sent Angelina July 9th an email stating what I had said in the June meeting that I wished to be included in those minutes. I never asked for anyone to go back and look at the history.
That's exactly what you asked me to do.
That is not,
Give you the history.
that's just not true.
I just think this has been so redundant over something that I just
Well-
don't understand the relevance.
And I said, well, I don't think it's up to you to decide what's relevant.
I go by what the minutes are. I go by what was said.
And I'm trying to correct.
And you're asking me to correct minutes that I can't find the correction you want included.
That's not, that you're totally misrepresenting what I asked you to do. So go ahead and go through the approval of this. I'll just vote no and we'll move on.
Okay. Is there a?
I make a motion, we accept or approve the minutes last
Second,
meeting.
there's a second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Right.
No.
Okay. All right. Financial,
Other than me having said to you, the general ledger, I typically don't do a financial report for you guys, so I'm unable to provide that. I'm sure Amy will be on board to do that next month.
Yeah, the whole thing's right here, the entire,
Yeah.
Yeah, I send everyone the ledger.
all
30 pages of it or whatever, so it takes a little bit of time, 22 pages, takes a little bit of time to go through that. The only thing I will say is that, because we've had so many repairs, we're probably gonna run out of money in our repair and maintenance, so, and I'll help Amy out, as a volunteer, explain how you can transfer money from one to the other, and the auditor will help her too, so. But you are gonna have to watch that budget for the end of the year. That doesn't get overrun.
Let's move on. Approval of claims and paying of routine bills.
I make a motion, we approve the claims as presented.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, any other business?
Yes.
Come before the board?
Yes, I got a couple of things here, just cleaning up a few things before I'm gone. As I remember in our, I think it was our June meeting, shortly after I got on the board, Tom was at that meeting with me where I had, Rick Anderson and,
The beach?
yeah, for that,
The tree
making sure-
area.
Yeah, the tree areas. We had a permit that ran from the DNR from 2020 to 2022. And Rick Anderson had done a very detailed map of what needed to be done. We got those boulders and they shored it up around the beach houses. But what they're supposed to do with those was put them around the trees and plant trees to replace the dead ones. And that didn't get done exactly. There was a little bit of a snafu, I think, with that very first park superintendent. We had COVID and we had all kinds of stuff. So I had volunteered to write a letter for Dick's signature to go to the DNR asking them if they would consider extending the time on that permit. And if not, what else would they do? Because that does need to be done. There's some of those trees, the roots have gotten worse. We're going to lose some more trees if we don't shore that up. So if you don't stabilize that shoreline, some of these projects you're talking about doing aren't going to matter much. So anyway, we had kind of talked about that. I did finally, because I saw Kathy Later's name on the agenda. Oh, so anyway, because she's who I talked to. So no, not later. Yes, yes. Yes, sorry. That's another reason I need to retire because I can't keep things straight half the time. So anyway, no, it was Kathy Carrier. So anyway, I wrote the letter. So Dick, you're gonna need to sign it. There is a misspell on there. So I sent everybody a copy of the file. It's a Word document. You'll need to sign it and then email it to the DNR and if you need a DNR or the gentleman's address, I'll do that. But then you'll need to follow up on that. And I've got all my stuff here and this was the original application and approval. And there's an attached, at the very last page is Rick Anderson's diagrams. They're very good, very detailed.
Is it possible to just relocate those stones that were? Long story short is that what happened way before my time is that those stones were delivered and they sat. And the first superintendent, one of the campers said, "Hey, I'll put those out for you." And he shoved them into the water. So they're there, but they need to be strategically placed around these trees for the erosion. Can we just get equipment to, now I know that's gonna be an issue because they're in the water and then DNR. But I'm just saying, instead of buying new or getting a grant for new, maybe we could look at reusing them.
Well,
Thing for you. No, you're not talking about the ones that are around the beach house, are you?
yeah, some of them, yes.
Those were put there at the beach house to stop the erosion so the floor wouldn't collapse.
No, I'm talking about the ones down to the south of that, you know where.
About the ones that are around the
Yes,
beach.
they're
No,
yes, they're
the ones
supposed
that
to be
are
around the trees.
Well, they put them purposely on the beach house because the sand was washing out from the floor and they were worried about the floor of the
Yes.
beach house
I
collapsing.
remember that from our meeting.
Because
These
that
are the
was
big black ones that are there on the south of that.
Totally different than I'm talking
Yeah.
ones that are stacked around the foundation of the beach house.
No, we're talking about the
This
big
one,
black
you don't
ones
move those.
that these guys found someone stealing one time.
Well,
Really?
souvenirs.
Had a van backed up and we're hauling those around.
Oh,
those
you can
stones.
sell them as souvenirs with the house.
Yes.
Oh my God, I didn't know that, so. But
Anyway, it's just a.
Well, anyway, I have fulfilled my obligation, so now it is up to this board and the superintendent and this assistant to get that accomplished, and make sure, and we have to plant new trees out there. And, so our guy from the 4-H. He was out at the meeting too.
Oh, I remember.
Bill.
Yeah, Phil Woolery. And he will recommend what kinds of trees that needed to be planted, but you have to have a permit to do that too, so. And that permit's expired, so no matter, I don't know if you can reuse those or not. As I recall, the rocks weren't that expensive because I wrote a grant to the community foundation for the rocks, and they gave us that money, so. I don't think the rocks are that expensive, it's probably getting a volunteer or somebody in there to place them correctly. Yeah, and then the permit. So anyway, that's my letter. Everybody's got a copy of it in their email on WordPerfect, so the spelling error that I think Tom found a spelling error.
Sorted instead of.
Resorted instead of
Restored.
restored, so yes, yes, so spell check.
Although actually now, after resorted. No, even beyond that, because now we actually, because that was another of the things I was gonna bring up. When I heard about this pier thing with, every private pier is gonna need a permit. Does that mean that the permit that we normally apply for now, we're not gonna apply for to DNR anymore? We're gonna apply to the county?
I think
So that, I think we have to find out
All new,
what that
all
is.
new yet.
Well, I know, but I don't think it's.
Check with Mary or both.
Yeah, the only, the BZA passed something first, I took it, right, the nurse meeting tomorrow night, so if I went tomorrow night, I could find out from them what they passed.
A little more, yeah.
A little more,
Yeah.
because when I
We
looked,
don't even know.
yeah, well, 'cause when I looked at the Indiana Water Preservation Act that they referenced in that meeting from your guys' meeting. It's the same as what it's been. There's an outline, there's no requirement for private piers to have permits. There's a requirement for group piers at marinas, commercial piers, but there was a cutout for private piers. As long as you stayed within the certain constraints, you didn't need a permit, so.
Yeah, talk to them, yeah.
So I'm not sure, cause I think Mark conveyed that it was like a state mandate. I don't see them showing.
State's handing it over to us, that's all.
They might be handing it over, but I don't think they're demanding that the county go out and require permits for every private pier,
So I
but
say, talk
I wanna
to them.
find out.
I got a document today from Mary, because she's bringing it to our Saturday meeting, but. And the title of it is 2 pages, is temporary structures, general structures in the water,
Right.
which are piers.
Yeah, and there's an outline in the Indiana Freshwater Act about what those are.
So you should go to that meeting, Tom, and then.
Well, I'm gonna go to this meeting about night now. If that's what it sounded like from the council meeting, that's where this originated, because I heard from the beginning of that meeting, someone said the BZA's been wanting to do this for 4 or 5 years.
They're not wanting to do it.
Well, but that lady said
I
that.
can tell you that, cause that's gonna be a whole lot more.
Well, so that's what I'm gonna go find out. I'm gonna try to find out, do my homework and find out if whoever it was that presented that for the new position
Right.
was accurate or not.
You gotta be wrong, because Facebook's all lit up with what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right.
We check with-
You know, it sounded like that this is the first year that the council went ahead and told them to go ahead and do this permit thing. But, so I'm gonna attend that tomorrow night and find out.
So anyway, this needs to be addressed, so I got the letter, you can correct the thing.
Yes,
Email it to them and initiate the process anyway,
yes.
and so that's done. And the other thing is on the kayak launches. We got a email from Bob and Lori, they're preparing to award the bids, and they'll be getting started on that construction shortly. Within the next few months, so we've got the first kayak launch being done, which is at English Lake. The second kayak launch that is going to be constructed, and there was a little question as to whether or not that would actually happen, is at State Road 23. And that is through a piece of property, a sliver of property donated to the park board by Dr. and Mrs. Fritz. And so we kind of sat on it for a couple of years. We didn't get it done right away. And then there was a question about whether or not it was going to actually be donated. Well, I had Bill Crace and contact Mrs. Fritz to initiate discussions with her about it. Because he's very good at that kind of thing, and I just thought he would do a good job. So he came through. He called me today and he said that Dr. and Mrs. Fritz are going to donate the property for $1. And he wants a letter from the park board signed by all the park board members stating their level of interest. So I'll read this out loud for the record. It says, "Dear Dr. and Mrs. Fritz, this shall serve to commemorate our discussions regarding the sale of a portion of your property, southeast corner on State Road 23 at the Yellow River to be used as a public kayak launch. We had discussed this to be a sale of the property for $1, that the property would be surveyed at our expense, and that the deed drafted also at our expense. Evaluation of the property can be completed as well if you so desire, and any expense associated with that will be covered by the park board. The actual launch will be constructed by the Kankakee River Basin, Yellow River Basin Commission as part of the project that is already planned for that section of the Yellow River later this year. They have a $1.8 million project they're doing along that section of the Yellow River right there. And so they have agreed to construct that because part of their mission is to have recreation as well. So that will save us a lot of money. It'll be to our specs as according to the plan that we originally had done. We're truly excited about this partnership with you both, and we know it will be a welcome addition for the enjoyment of our community. Please do not hesitate to reach out with any questions or concerns. Please know you have our most sincere appreciation for this generous gift. And then there's a spot there for everybody to sign. Now, let me talk about how this is gonna come off. While the park board didn't exactly have these discussions with Dr. Fritz about the terms, I did. He's gonna sell it to us for $1, so the park board's gonna have to pay that $1. The property is to be surveyed at our expense. However, Bill Price has made arrangements with the LaPorte County surveyor to donate his time to survey it. And so we don't have any survey expenses. Bill's taking care of that for us. The deed has to be paid for, and that'll cost a lawyer. And I'd already mentioned to Marty Lucas, because I talked to him about it, that I would personally pay for that as a gift to the county or to the park board. And then the valuation of the property, I don't think that would be very expensive. You just get a local realist. He wants that for his taxes, a local real estate agent to do that. And I don't think it costs more than, a few dollars, and I'll pay for that as well. So this is a project that I'd hope to be able to see done. I don't mind putting some of my own personal money into it. So it's my donation as I exit here to the park board. So we need to sign this letter, and then Amy can mail it to him.
Okay. Well, there's.
I think that's wonderful, Kathy. Thank you very, very much, because I know we talked about this. Property.
Table, so what?
I think this is a whole lot more important than a picnic table. Well, it's as important, I should say, but no, that's wonderful. Thank you.
We gotta figure out how to get this signed. There's a.
Oh, she can use a little white out for that, for God's sake. I mean, yes, I saw it in there, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I had to sign the letter too, that's why, and after this meeting gets adjourned, then I don't get to sign the letter. So, she'll just right here, Amy.
Yeah.
Just take a little white out.
I got it.
Get that extra mark off.
Well, sign it.
Is yours? Well, she can get his later maybe, or whatever. Oh, and I forgot to write number on him too, so.
Well, it just got pushed over, I see.
Oh, everything got pushed over. Well, we're probably gonna have to redo the whole thing. I'll just, I'll have her redo the whole thing, and I'll sign it anyway, even though it's after the
It's
date.
dated today, so that's.
Yeah, it's dated today, so.
That'll work. Okay.
So is there a motion to approve this letter and get sent to Dr. Fritz? And we'll have two of the 5 or 6 kayak launches on that list started, so completed. So I'm so excited.
I make a motion that we send this letter to Dr. and Mrs. Fritz.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
That's all I have.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just like to say to Kathy, I've seen her come, I've seen her go, seen her come back, now she's leaving again. Her input and her knowledge would be very much, yes.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
I want to comment on the opening speech to the reservation. It was well done by a very classy mother.
Well, thank you.
Here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we talked a couple meetings ago about starting to redo the piers at the beach. I gave you guys a price list of what it would cost of material to replace the wooden piers. And Tom mentioned that we had talked about redoing the aluminum walkout on the south end. The start was sort of all the same. So I just handed this out. I went to Larry's Marina and got the estimate for the walkout. Replace it in the aluminum. That's the same as the other two sections.
But is there as many sections?
No.
There's not as many sections.
There's only 12 there right now compared to 20 for the others. And this is priced for what's there now. The 12. And this is a price that this would have to be ordered this fall to get this price.
How late this fall, I mean, this.
I didn't get a date from her because I wanted to find out if you're really interested before I ask her all the details of ordering it.
Yeah, can we just briefly discuss it? We haven't had it really.
Yeah.
To digest everything.
So, but I just wanted to get this in your hands because you have the prices for the other ones.
May I add something real quick on that? We had talked a while back about you getting an aerial shot of the piers, a drone or something, so we can show. When we put this out to bid for pier installation, they can actually see what the piers look like. If you get anywhere with that, Tom?
No, I didn't do it.
Okay,
You probably post on Facebook, there's somebody who's always doing drone pictures on Facebook.
okay, we'll try to find this.
I mean, we have the exact layouts of the piers, so I'm not sure, at least for the bidding part of it.
Well, we have the layouts, but they need to see.
They need to see that, they're nice, yeah.
What they're gonna be involved.
Yeah, you're not gonna see that from a drone yet.
No, I understand that, but maybe if they see a drone picture. we
But you're
might
not good on the outline.
Get people to out, whether or not they even want to tackle this.
Tony Mildice has a drone.
What's this, aluminum?
You might give
This
him
is
a call.
one walkout, that's
Yeah.
matching of the middle and north pier.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know. Yeah, because I don't think,
Residential.
I don't think we ought to consider aluminum for anything else.
No, because.
Because until it goes to all shore stations.
Everything else is marina, and I said, other people have said this, oh, you should get all.
What are you talking about? I'm gonna give you the-
Second of all, as soon as somebody hits an aluminum, it's junk.
The whole section.
So can I tell them, it's okay, I keep those sections.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, but who's gonna buy it at $1,000 a section? You can buy a lot of wood for $1,000.
Oh, I-
And the wood needs to start being
You'd be
replaced,
sitting in the
but this would match for the walkouts.
All three will be.
And all
I feel we do the walkouts and they don't get damaged by anything anyways.
There's only, 3 boats, 4 boats on the aluminum walkouts, you know, the way they.
They're on shore station.
And they're on shore. Well, they'll be on shore station, we won't allow any.
Yeah, that's just to the side, they're not putting it in the front.
So- But, you guys wanted the prices, so I went ahead and got the prices for you.
Well, let me grab the financials. I just handed over to Amy. Let me look real quick and see what kind of money we've got in our.
All these pipes were put in the 50s, she said. Everything. all
Talk about the
back-
sewer pipes. Or,
For the sewage pipes,
yes, yes.
all went back to the old sewage plant that was back by the garage.
Mhm. They're
And
probably
so
all
those
clay.
Lines are probably clay tile,
Mhm.
okay, so they're all probably leaking like crazy,
Yeah,
and that's why they come up so bad.
yeah,
And there's many ways to fix them,
yeah.
holes in line, whatever. Why, is there any time that anybody look into running them, not from back there, but from the washroom to the sewer line in the middle of the road? Instead of going back there and pumping it back up, having them drop it into the main sewer line. So you would have 2 to 3 drops. Instead of running everything back, messing with the pumps, paying for electric and pumping everything up, back up. I don't know if that's possible. I haven't been able to find the exact layout of the pumps,
Yeah.
or I mean the lines, but I got a good idea where they are. And I didn't want to start opening manager's office. But is that an option so you don't have to keep paying for all of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I think the county's gonna have to get involved in some of this with.
We're actually got a guy coming to check into that and maybe, bore new lines.
Yeah, so that's,
Work out nice now.
Yeah.
Yeah, from that one meeting that was had, obviously just general discussion. The general discussion was to bypass the existing lines and run all new, drill new line, underneath. Kind of like the cable guys are doing now, they're going a new line. So that way you don't have to worry about trying to do in situ form or anything like that.
They should be able to give you an idea from invert and inlet where that is underneath the road.
Right.
So I would think they'd be able to tell you if you can drop it into theirs.
Yeah.
How deep it is.
Yeah, but that discussion's just initial right now.
Yeah.
It's just in its
Yeah.
infancy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do something, but we don't know exactly what.
Thank you.
Well, in your equipment line item, there's $7,388.80 that is available to spend yet. And I have no,
Spend it on a pump.
Huh?
I'm gonna spend some of it on a pump.
well, there you go, so, and I'm looking at these other. You don't have a lot, in the other items either, so if you, decide to do that, you're probably gonna have to ask the commissioners for some money. So,
Yeah, I think we should buy a printing press. The government's got one today. Yeah. Make our own.
Let's just get a 3D printer, which is everything we need.
Yeah.
Big speed.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
There's a second.
second,
All in favor?
Alright.
Is that for 12 sections?
Another dozen houses. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
He's the guy get this thing, let me turn this in.
So this is,
Saturday.
Angela, look at this, that's all.